Are you tempted by a brand new electric car but feel put off by the high prices? Well then buy used. There has never been a better time to pick up a bargain second-hand electric vehicle, as we demonstrated last year when we paid a visit to Cinch and had a little nosy around their inventory. In fact, we found so many bargains that we've had to come back and do a part 2. Should we go bargain hunting? Welcome to the Fully Charged Show.
Try everything electric at our exhibitions in Australia, Canada and the UK. Next up, London.
Right, skipping the Mini, did it last time. VW ID3. I still remember seeing this thing when it was unveiled at the Munich Motor Show a few years ago and just being a little bit disappointed in terms of the styling and the quality of the interior. It wasn't quite on par with the Golf of the time, the Mark 7, more on that later. However, as an EV, it's excellent. MEB platform, bespoke architecture, really decent range, and so much space inside for a car of this size. Are the haptic buttons on the steering wheel going to make you want to punch yourself in the face? Yes, occasionally, but it's got Apple CarPlay, so you don't have to engage with it that much. This is an interesting spec, this one. It's actually spec'd to the gills. It's got the wireless charger and the heated seats and what have you, but it's on Steelies. That's fun. 17 and a bit grand for this particular car, but they've got ones on their website for less than 14k now. That is tantalizing. Moving on. No. Yes, did it last time, but e-Niro, a used EV hero of mine. Absolutely adore these things. Range monsters, spec'd to the gills. We did them last time, we'll skip that. Now then, Hyundai Ioniq 5. I put it to you that this is one of the best cars that there is right now. Not just electric cars, not just family cars, just cars. Jack, do you mean that it's as good as a Porsche 911 GT3? That's exactly what I mean. That's exactly what I mean. This thing, it just nails the brief of being a big, comfortable, practical, premium family car so unbelievably well. And I think the styling is aging just fine, which was a concern when it came out. I wish it was just a size down. I wish it was ID3 size. That's a personal preference thing. Hyundai will follow up with smaller Ioniq cars before long, I'm sure. But for the meantime, love this thing. Do you know what one of my favourite things about it is? That little panel just to the side of the gauge clock. Run! As I was just saying before I ran off in a super cool and manly way, this little panel just to the right of the gauge cluster, magnetic, so you can have fridge magnets on there, your child's rubbish drawing from primary school, whatever you like. That's cool. Also, under the middle seat in the back, there's a domestic 3-pin plug socket. Why? Isn't that just a standard issue thing on modern EVs? I don't know, but it is on this. And you've got proper EV architecture, fast charging, vehicle to load, huge inside. It's verging on flawless, honestly. And get this, early versions of this with relatively high miles, we're talking still less than 50,000 miles, you can get these for the low 20,000s now. That might actually be the bargain of the day. We probably should have done this last, on reflection.
We're really excited to partner with Duracell Energy to showcase their amazing renewable energy solutions. If you want to reduce your energy bills and join the renewable energy transition, installing home battery storage and solar panels at home is a great way to start. Duracell Energy's ecosystem of products typically partners with solar panels, but they can be just as effective without it, particularly for electric vehicle owners or anyone looking to take control of their energy. And with Duracell Energy's Platinum Homeowner offer, viewers can get a custom service that pairs you with top quality products and the best installers in your area. Plus, Duracell Energy's batteries, inverters and EV chargers work together on one easy to use app. With features like dynamic tariff integration and grid services, you'll be able to maximize your return. Ready to get started? You can get your quote today. And don't forget, we're also giving away a Duracell Energy Bunny in every episode. Just answer the question about Fully Charged by following the link in the description. Good luck!
Oh, the Hyundai Kona electric facelift. Much nicer looking at the front, I think. We had one of these as a crew car for a really long time and it was ye old faithful. Just big range, practical, nice heated seats. The crew absolutely wept when we said goodbye to this thing. Basically, just a slightly smaller Kia Niro, a bit more interesting looking, I would argue as well. Not quite as roomy in the back, but just an absolutely rock solid electric car. This one actually has the smaller battery, so it's not got the monster range, but if you have one with the bigger battery, we're talking 300 miles, real world. And this won't be the last time you hear me say this in this video. God, car interiors were better 3 to 5 years ago. Just look at this. There's no gigantic touchscreen and haptic buttons that you have to rub with your elbow in order to open the sunroof. It's just a well thought out, practical interior with big, chunky buttons, and it's spec to the gills. Lovely car. Mercedes EQA. I didn't really like these all that much when they came out. Why? Because it's just not that good as an EV. Range is pretty limited, it's not proper architecture, so space is fairly limited relative to its size, but we're going to make a similar sort of point here. Interior-wise, this was a real purple patch for Mercedes. Again, proper buttons. Lovely vents for the air conditioning. I really enjoyed this generation of Mercedes vent. And I like how you have these little kind of scrolly touchpads on the wheel, kind of like you used to have on BlackBerry phones. Really, really lovely interior. And this is one of those cars that it was just too expensive new, but as a second-hand purchase, makes a lot more sense. Just staying with Mercedes quickly, it's not here today, but I'd like to mention the fact that Cinch currently have a Mercedes EQS AMG for sale on their website. New, it was a £160,000 car, 3.5 second 0 to 60, 700 foot-pounds, just an absolute monster. Used, 60 grand. Let's just have a moment of silence for the person that bought that car new. Good. E-Golf. Now, everything that is wrong about the ID3 is so very right about this lovely machine. Mark 7 Golf was just a wonderful, wonderful car. And they electrified it. They put some batteries in it. What you don't get, and you do get from the ID3, is proper EV architecture, huge space inside, big range, etc. This is limited on range. It's not going to suit a lot of people. But if you don't need very much range, and if you just want a really fantastic 5-seater hatch, I don't know what's better than this. It's just so sensible and practical in there. I've always had a soft spot for Golfs. Also, look, it's got proper actual analog dials, and instead of a haptic panel for the headlights, it's an actual switch. Oh, God. Bring back actual switches. Now again, this isn't going to be for everyone. 110, 120 miles of range, new, ever so slightly less now, you would imagine. About 12 grand for one of these. If you can make it work for you, it's a wonderful thing. But so much roomier in the back of the ID3 actually. Wow, seeing the two together, that is really stark. A reminder just how important bespoke EVs with proper EV architecture truly are. Right, we'll breeze past these because we did them last time, although that is a lovely bit of paint on that Audi, goodness me. I-Pace, talked about it last time, bargains. Leaf, later model of course, so this won't have terrible battery degradation like the very, very early cars did. What I'll say about these is, which absolute lunatic decided those were the wheels for the facelifted Nissan Leaf? That is a crazy choice. Anyway, here we have a flock of Stellantis products. They're all the same underneath. They've all got the same battery underneath. It's just a case of how do you want your car? High or low? What do you want it to look like? How do you want your interior to be? In the high-riding crossover department, we've got the little Mocha. I ran one of those for a long-termer. For a long time, actually. It's quite nice. It's light and squashy and compact. It's lacking in range. It's not especially exciting. This thing's real zany. DS3 E-Tense. Goodness me. I've not actually seen the interior of one of these up close. I hope you like diamonds and triangles. If you do, this is going to make you very happy. Lovely seats, just, yeah, French and interesting. Quite like that. E208, we talked about that last time. The Corsa, I've sort of got a soft spot for Corsas because, well, growing up it was what I wanted more than anything else. It was what the cool kids got when they passed their driving test. Admittedly, this one isn't 500 quid, but they are getting more and more affordable. I think those are really smart looking. There still aren't that many 4-seat EVs as compact as this. And with every passing month that they fall in price, they get more and more desirable. However, the most appealing Stellantis product here for me is that one outside. Now, the thing about all those Stellantis cars inside is they look different inside and out, but dynamically they're pretty similar. They sort of all drive the same. That brings me to this, the Citroen EC4, which is so squashy. It's just unbelievably comfortable and relaxed to drive. It has a really distinct personality compared to some of the other Stellantis brands that can feel a little bit samey. It's so softly sprung that if you press the brake really hard, the nose dives like on a motorbike, which is hilarious. But then, you know, don't brake hard. Just drive it in a relaxed and civilized fashion and you'll have a lovely time. It's another one of those cars that you just couldn't quite make the numbers make sense. It was in the low £30,000 starting price, and it's not got massive range and it's not huge in the back. But now for sort of 12 to 15K, which is what these are going for, very enticing. You can't have this one though because it's sold. Smart 4.4, not super interesting to me, but I will just give a quick shout out to the 4.2, which I think sort of represents the exact line where microcars end and actual cars begin. A convertible two-seater Smart 4.2, those are like 7-8 grand now, and they've only got enough range to get you sort of there, but you're going to have a lovely time doing it. This is interesting. Polarizing, maybe. Tesla Model S. This is a 2016 Model S, so that's a sweet spot. It's after Tesla decided to stop building their cars out of crisp packets and before the bloke in charge started doing all the hiling. So it's a sweet spot, in my opinion. This is a high mile example. It's done about 50,000 miles, but we know now just how little the batteries degrade, even relative to what we expected, and Tesla famously especially good on the degradation front. This is a lot of car for 20-something grand. I wouldn't be seen in one, personally, but to each their own. And we finish with an absolute superstar of second-hand electric vehicles. It's the OG Ioniq. Before Ioniq was a posh sub-brand, it was just this car. And this thing is a bit of a legend among electric vehicle geeks. Inside you've got the same sensible, practical interior as the Kona we looked at inside, but the main point of these things is efficiency. They call it the wind knife. And the beautiful thing about this car is in real world driving conditions, not being all weird and hypermiley and having the windows closed and the air conditioning off, just driving like a normal person, 5 or 6 miles to the kilowatt hour, easy. And what that means is, from its very small, modest battery, this thing is pulling 200 plus miles of range in the real world. There are so few cars today that match this thing for sheer efficiency, and it is a fabulous little vehicle. Pro tip, they only sold the electric one in the middle and top trim levels, which means all of the cars have, you know, heated seats, reversing cameras. I love these, and get this, they're starting to drop below £10,000. That is an electric car bargain, and that's what we came here to do today. I hope you saw something you liked. Do let me know in the comments which of these cars catches your eye. If it was something else that we didn't cover, what's your favourite second-hand electric car bargain? Please do make sure to like and subscribe, and if you have been, thank you for watching.